Welcome to the Miss Esquire Podcast. My name is Rahysa Vargas, and I'm the founder of Miss Esquire.
And I'm Trish Widowfield. I'm the vice president of Miss Esquire and the co-host.
We're really excited for you to hear this episode today, and we want to thank our two incredible sponsors, Littler, who is the largest international employment law firm in the world,
and Professional Interpreting Associates, which provides interpreting and translating services across all businesses.
And today we have an incredible guest. We have the one and only Jessica Cristobal, who is the founder of Leading Ladies League. She is a mom, a wife. She is the first lady of the Miami Hurricanes, and go Canes. Yeah. And she's also Miss Florida International. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming today. We're excited.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And I don't know if you know this, but we are actually both Canes. Oh. So we were okay. There you go. First off, you need to do it correctly.
I'm sorry.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
I was just corrected. My pinky was out in one of my U's, and one of the cheerleaders was like, you need to have the pinky in. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we're excited to have you. But we actually got introduced. I don't know if you know this, Trish, but we got introduced by one of our mutual friends, and she was like, "This woman is all about women," and we obviously at Miss Esquire are all about empowering other women. I love what you've been doing with Lady Leagues, and we're excited to have you today and get to know a little bit about you. But before we get started, we always ask every single one of our guests a question that I think is so true, because a lot of times people think the overnight success really occurred, but it didn't. The overnight success really took 20 years. So what do you think is the most instrumental thing that's happened in your life that has led you to where you are today?
I really think the belief in the power of yes is kind of where I got to where I am. And what that means is say yes to things that scare me a little bit. Say yes to challenges that I maybe don't feel quite prepared for, but I'm going to just go for it and see what happens. And I think enough yeses lead you to a successful journey, right? You have ups and downs, but you just have to go for it and see where it takes you. So that's where we are.
Yeah, I love that. When I was talking to her on the phone the other day, I was talking to her about how I feel like if you live in a comfortable space, you can't grow, right? So it's about being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so every year I challenge myself to do everything I hate. I'm like, how do we do something that I don't like so that I can grow in that moment? Like this year was like, I don't really want to wake up at 5 a.m. to work out because it's the only time. Like my excuse for not having time was like, I have kids and work and all the things. So I'm like, guess the only time I can work out is at 6 a.m. And so I've stuck through it, and I'm like, actually I enjoy it. So it's like getting, uncomfortable, comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Right. Yes. I'm there right now too.
And I think our audience would love to hear like a little bit about your upbringing and what led you to leadership and service, because you really flourished in that.
Thank you. Well, I was born into a military family. So my father was in the Army, and we grew up moving about every 2 years. I have a twin sister and a younger brother who is now also in the military.
Oh.
And so as a child, every 2 years we had to pack up our things and move to a new place. And I think that really made us resilient as kids. Of course, it's hard. And especially when you get into your preteen and teenage years, you have to leave your friends behind. But looking back, I feel like it was really a pivotal, every time we moved was pivotal for us to have to start over and to really face something that was scary and meet new friends and, do all the things that moving entails.
Yeah.
Families.
It's a lot of adjustment. What was your favorite place?
People ask me that, and I really can't say I have one. Miami is,
yes.
Miami is, as an adult, I moved here, and and now it's my favorite city in the universe. But as a kid moving around, we lived in Panama. I was born in Germany. We've lived in Massachusetts. I've lived in North Carolina multiple times. I lived in Tampa before. So there's so many great aspects to every one of those cities. But my favorite, obviously, is Miami. But I did that as an adult.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Leading Ladies League?
Yeah. Leading Ladies League was born in 2009.
Okay.
I think I'm a hostess at heart. So I would gather my girlfriends together for small, intimate dinner parties. And 2009 was before children. So we had lived in a condo in Brickell. And I was hosting a small dinner party with 4 girlfriends. And I looked around the table as we're all having a nice dinner, and I saw a jet broker and a lawyer and a marketing executive and a real estate mogul. And I thought, this is so fun, but we should do this with a purpose behind it.
Yeah.
So we can get together and still do this fun, curated, luxurious event. And back then, we thought we were so bougie, with our with our wine and cheese platters. But it was just, we felt so elegant, but we also said, let's keep doing this and growing it, but let's also partner with a charity and give back.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so is that how it kind of like expanded? You started with 4, and then did they all kind of bring somebody, or how did you?
Yeah. Well, it just became, it became an organization that grew because of word of mouth. So just like I met you through Sandy,
Yeah.
Powerful women kind of attract one another. So it's grown from just our connections and our friendships. We've just exponentially grown and expanded.
I love it.
Was there a certain gap that you wanted to fill, or a certain charity, or is it change every year?
Definitely. I always focus on charities that support women and children. And I think in the last few years, it's become more of just about the children and youth, teenagers. So that's kind of where my heart is, because I believe that, we can all be and have anything we want in life.
Yeah.
But I think young people need to hear that. And if they don't know that there's another way outside of where they are.
Or that they're capable.
Or that they're capable. So I think it's important just to pour into them and encourage them and let them know, like, your past doesn't determine your future. You really can be whoever you want.
Right.
And you're on the board of Voices for Children. Tell us a little bit about that organization and what it does.
Voices for Children is an incredible organization that works with abused, neglected, and abandoned children that are in the foster care system. So we're just a beacon of hope for them. We're a voice for them. They have lawyers that go in and serve for their law proceedings as advocates. And I like to work one-on-one with the kids. So I like to be with them for their back to school drives and, other initiatives, going to college, taking college tours and things like that.
I love it. We actually, I love that that's what the organization is, because I feel like there's just so many kids in the foster care system, and they kind of, when they outgrow, there's a lot of great organizations. There's another one that we partner up with every single year, but this is like the most underserved, community. And there's so many things that we can do to help them. Plus, I feel like even just giving a little bit back, that they can feel like somebody, is there, and so much of their life is like changing, and they don't have somebody consistent. So I think it's great. It's incredible.
Yeah, giving time and attention, which is something that they're deprived of.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just letting them know that we're on their side. We're here to support you. We're not going to abandon you or neglect you. Yeah.
Now, many people know you as the First Lady of the Miami Hurricanes. How have you created your own identity outside of Mario and McCain's?
That's a good question. When we got married, I was already almost 30 and he was in his late 30s, and we already had our own things going on. I was a career woman. I was in magazine publishing before. Obviously, he was in football. And so I was determined to obviously support him in all of his goals, but I wanted to also create something that was mine.
Yeah.
So that it could travel if we had to move somewhere else. And so that's really why I wanted to continue creating Leading Ladies League in other cities. So I always have a built-in community with my coaches' wives at every school we've been at. And so it's like a built-in buddy system. So once we move, I've got this network of women. I can mobilize them and say, hey, there's a certain elementary school that needs coats or backpacks. Let's get together and just support them. Because our goal is always, wherever we are, is to leave it better than we found it. And so I feel like we've done a good job of that. And now we're back in Miami, and hopefully we can do really great things here too.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I loved when I was talking to you about, because I didn't even know, wasn't even thinking about the whole football community. When you move somewhere, it's kind of scary. You have to start brand new. You don't know what to do or what doctor. I mean, I have a group of chat of moms that they're just new moms, right? So they're like, who's your pediatrician? Who do you use? So there's so many things. Community is so important for people to feel like they're part of something, but also for them not to go through depression or, it's a new city, and I'm sure you've probably learned a lot, but also in moving as a child, you probably have learned a lot. So what's been your biggest takeaway on being able to, because there's two communities, one is the football wives, and then the other one is, or are they kind of mixed?
I'm able to merge the two, because you have to understand, coaches' wives are also leading ladies. We have to be the CEOs of household, because our husbands are not available to step in and do the things that someone with a 9-to-5 job could do. These guys are working 14, 16, 18-hour days. So we really have to step in and be the mom and the dad sometimes. We are showing up at all of the sporting events. We are taking to all of the doctor's appointments. We are, managing the finances. We do everything. And so, we always have a nice group chat, and we welcome the new people in right away and make them feel welcome. We give them resources for a hair person, a pediatrician. I always I have a funny story that when we moved to Oregon, I didn't know anyone, and I put my realtor as our emergency contact for my
Wow.
kids elementary school because I didn't know anyone else.
Right.
She was the person I knew the most, over the 2 weeks that I'd been working with her. So God forbid anything
Wow.
happened, they were calling the realtor. So, yeah.
That's funny. And tell me a little bit about like the Leading Ladies League. So I know you just launched a new magazine. So what do you envision for it over the next like 5-10 years? And where do you see it going?
Well, I would love to see it, and I in my mind's eye, it's already happened.
Yeah.
So I would love to see it in every major city in America and the
amazing.
world. I mean, Leading Ladies League, there are leading ladies in every corner of the universe. And so how powerful would that be if we all locked arms and just did amazing initiatives in the communities that we serve?
Yeah.
So I launched the magazine and the book within the 6-week time frame because I was prepared for this the Mrs. International contest. So I turned it out fast and it was crazy, but I was so glad I got it done. So it's a quarterly publication, and we are going to just feature leading ladies in different industries.
I love it. This is actually it's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
But when I was talking to her with Sandy on our impromptu like live that I had to go on, I was like, first off, they're both beautiful. Okay. And some of us over here do not look like this every single day.
You don't wake up like
Oh, no, I was not that either.
And so I get on a live. She's like, well, maybe Rahysa wants to get on live. And I'm like, no. I'm literally like in my pajamas with my kids doing a puzzle. And I'm like, no, she's going to call me. And she does. She's like, accept Rahysa. I'm like, okay. And so I accepted, but she was telling me quickly about how she, did it. I love that because oftentimes I think like we're the ones that, hold ourselves back. So we'll have an idea and we're like, hey, should we do this? And then we don't actually put it to like the momentum into doing it. We'll like leave it behind for another 6 months and stuff. So I told Trish, I was like, hey, we're going to go virtual. We're going to start a podcast and we have 5 days to do it, And she's like, you're absolutely insane. But sometimes like things are born in pressure, right? Like I think it's the best part. Tell us about the story about how you became Mrs. Florida International, because I think that's great. It's another one of those stories that's like from 1 minute to the other. You just
It really was. And I had 6 weeks to prepare. So I was a delegate at large, meaning that the current reigning Mrs. Florida was not available. And the contest was happening it was July 18th and 19th. So our friend Sandy, who was Mrs. International 2022, called me and she says, Jessica, they need a Mrs. Florida. You're perfect. You've got the platform with Leading Ladies League. Like, you have to do this. And I thought, no, that's a whole week of my life. I'm not prepared. Every reason why I shouldn't do it popped into my mind, including the fact that Mario had to be involved and had to be on stage with me to walk me out because they really celebrate marriage in this particular organization. So I thought, okay, well, he's going to say no. So I'm going to be able to get out of this.
You would have an out.
Yeah. It was right on the heels of him having to report to camp for fall camp. So I pitched it to him and I said, I know you're really busy. I understand if it's not going to work. It's totally okay. And he calls me Mama. No, Mama, if you want to do it, I support you 1,000%. Yeah, let's it sounds great. Let's do it. And I thought, oh boy. Oh boy. So I had to say yes. And I'm so glad I did. But it was another one of those instances of say yes to things that scare you a little bit, right? Like jump.
Yeah.
Had you ever been involved in pageant life before?
I had 30 years ago. And it was a similar experience where I was a stand-in for somebody. And so that was a great experience. But again, it was like, go. You got to push yourself off the cliff. So that's what I did.
So with Miss Florida International, I know you've done a lot of things for the community. How do you hope that your work inspires not only the women in your group, but also the community?
Well, I think God gave me this platform to be a voice. I have a microphone, and as the First Lady, and as the CEO of Leading Ladies League, and now the Mrs. Florida International. So I feel like I have a great platform to use my voice and to inspire other women and young people to just go after their dreams, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. And speaking of young women, I think oftentimes they don't know where to start. You know, they're like, hey, maybe like I'm not a leader, or maybe I'm not worthy. And if somebody that was like listening to this that was like pretty young and wanted to aspires to do a lot of things but is scared, what do you think your advice for them would be to step into leadership?
You have to believe in yourself. You have to shut out some of the noise and some of the voices that tell you that you're not enough, or that, you know, if you have imposter syndrome, which we all do, except Martha Stewart. So I think you just have to kind of like fake yourself into really believing that you can do and be and have anything you want, and just say yes. Like I keep saying, say yes to opportunities. I also think that, you know, being in the room with other people that inspire you is so important. So we like to say, get off the Zoom, get in the room.
Oh, I love that.
Meaning be in community with other women that inspire you.
Yeah.
Your friends should be strong where you're in areas that you're not as strong, right? So we can all lock arms and lift each other up.
I love that. I always tell Trisha, I'm like, we are so blessed to be in a room where I mean, there's people that have been practicing for 30, 40 years. And I walk into the room, I'm like, thank God I got a place at this table, right? And it's funny because people are always like, oh, but like you created. I'm like, no, I'm just honored to be able to be in a room where everybody's smarter than me, because God, I don't want to be in the room where I'm the smartest person. You know, like I get to learn every single day from people that have done it better.
Exactly. And that's kind of the premise behind Leading Ladies too, because I'm so inspired by the women that are in my group.
Yeah.
You know, I created that magazine to edify other women.
That's great.
You know, I'm on the front cover of the first issue, but after that, like, I just want to keep promoting other women and what they're doing. I am so in awe of badass women.
Yeah, I know a few of the women that are in there, and they really do have incredible stories. So it's great to be able to like highlight, because I think, you know, sometimes people see an Instagram reel of what your life looks like. This is why I post a non-Instagram reel in my life. Often, because I'm you know, I went to sleep at 1:30 in the morning, and sometimes people are like, oh, how do you do it all? I'm like, I do not sleep. So it's part of the reality is like, yes, everything looks great, but it's important for people to see that we all went through, you know, highs and lows and valleys to get there, and that really our life does not look like everything just the one post that we're posting about our vacation, you know.
Yes.
So it's highlighting all of those things and how we got there.
So your book, the Leading Ladies Guidebook, those have tips and tricks as to, and what would you encourage other people to do?
It's an easy read. I have ADHD, so I wanted to make sure that it was something that you could just pick up and get some good nourishment from reading a few pages. And there's success principles, you know. And I often speak to 6th grade girls or 7th grade girls, and I want it to be something that could be applicable for them as well. So a lot of it is, you know, be mindful of who's in your circle.
Yeah.
And sometimes the people that are in your circle are not always in your corner. Or, you know, say yes to opportunities and just things like that, just that are nuggets of sound advice that I've gleaned from my experience.
Yeah, that's great. I think sometimes I don't know if you probably don't have any friends like this anymore. But I think I feel like God removes the right people at the right time. And I've had a lot of friends where I have, you know, every time you speak to them, everything is negative. Like everything. I'm my glass is always pouring over, right? Like it'll be seldom times where I think we can't do something, like very few. I mean, out of 365 days, maybe 2 I'll call her and I'll be like, I
cause me panic.
She's like, this is weird, because I truly believe that we're capable of everything. If God gave you that desire, you're more than capable of doing it, right? But you'll have like the one person in your circle, or I did at the time, where every conversation was negative. Like, well, this can happen, or like this can happen, or my God, like my life is so bad, you know, and so it's draining. But it also, what you consume is who you become, right? So it's so important to be around people. Like I'll call Trisha and I'll tell her like all this. She's like, okay, we need a plan, but she never tells me no, you know. She's just more like, okay, you're the visionary, but like let's also have like some sort of like plan.
Execution.
I have that too. Thank God. Thank God for friends like you.
Yes, sounding boards. I'm like, we're going to New York. She's like, Okay, when? I'm like, next month. She's like, all right, we're launching with nobody there. And I'm like, it's gonna be
We need a
fun.
venue. We need people.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. But yes, the circle that you're surrounded with, it's like there's an old saying in Spanish. It's like, tell me who you're with, the four people you're with, and that's who you are.
Yes.
So it's so important that you're surrounded by like, people that are strong and like that really are gonna hold you accountable and build you to the next step.
With you being a coach's wife and having to move, has it been hard to find that circle of trust? Like the people that you really know that you can rely on?
Such a good question.
Yes, in some cases, just because the spotlight is on us, people are very curious about our lives. Obviously, it starts with Mario because he's in the public eye so much, but people want to know about the woman he's married to. What's she like? What's their relationship
Right.
like? And thankfully, we have a beautiful marriage and I adore him. But yeah, people are very curious and they want to know. They're just curious. Maybe even a little bit nosy. So, um, I I do have to be mindful of what I do. Like you won't see me out drinking loads of wine or booze at an event because I'm maintaining our brand, right?
Right.
Our last name. And so I have to be very mindful of putting the right image out
Yeah.
that represents our family. Our sons are also born into this. And so I have to be very mindful of what they have to be exposed to as well. So yeah, Mario doesn't drink at all. And I drink maybe twice a year, a toast of champagne or something. But it's just one of those things that the more spotlight we've encountered, the more you have to be mindful of, what you're showcasing. So as far as friends are concerned, I am very selective with who I spend my time with. I think we have to be.
Yeah.
And very intentional. And I definitely want to be around people who are positive. I don't have the capacity to be around someone who's draining or who's negative or who's, who's vomiting all over me about everything that's going on. Like,
Right.
I don't have time for that.
Right. I agree. And speaking about your children, because I think obviously, no matter what we do in life, like we're always moms first. Like I feel like our first ministry is always our home.
Yes.
And it's so important to, be a sounding board and be there for them. Obviously, I'm really grateful that my husband's actually a stay-at-home dad. So we have a little role reversal in our house. Thank the guys that do that. But I also think like being a mom to two kids where like somebody is consistently working, it's hard. It's tough. And I try to put myself in my husband's shoes. What do you think has been probably one of the hardest things that like traveling and being a wife of somebody who has like had to consistently move? I know you did this in Europe, but like with your kids, how hard has that been to manage with your
I think this last move was the hardest for them because at the time they were 13 and 11. So they were in like 6th and 5th grade, something like that. And that was hard.
Yeah.
Because we moved here from Oregon and we were there for 5 years. And to them, that's kind of where they grew up.
Right.
So they had to leave all of their friends in their cool years,
Yeah.
and that was challenging. And the one who has to pick up, sell the house, pack the house, move the house is the wife, the coach's wife. So the guys, they go and start their new job right away. And so we're often left to deal with the kids' emotions and all of the other stresses that come along with a transition like that. And in this case, it was across the country. So, and it was in the middle of the year. So they had a lot of challenges that year. It took about 6 weeks for them to kind of get in a groove, meet new friends. And now they love Miami, of course. But, that's part of this job. And it is challenging. Thankfully, having boys, I can just like merge them into the football world and they love it. So, like they're at the facility every single day, whether they're getting treatment or they're learning from other coaches or they're just throwing a ball with another coach's kid, they're there.
Do they want to be in football?
They both love football and they both started playing football. I have a freshman and a sophomore. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's to be hard as a mom to watch that though.
It is, it's our livelihood though. So it's just part of what we do and who we are, So of course I pray over them when they're on the field and I'm trying to feed them as much as I can so that they get big and burly as possible, but we'll see.
Going back a little bit to the Voices for Children, is there any sort of like key story or family that you were involved with that really stuck with you?
Voices for Children, I've been involved with for 2 years, and I've been able to interface with quite a few of the youth and just kind of give them nuggets of wisdom or some encouragement. I would say one story that stands out to me is there was a youth that was, he had just announced that he and his girlfriend were having a baby.
Oh, wow.
And so I said, congratulations, you're going to do great. Make sure you do everything you can to learn about being a good parent. This is your legacy. And a year later, I had long forgotten about that conversation. And he says, Mrs. Cristobal, I want to share something with you. And I said, what is it? How's everything going? And he says, well, I want you to know that I named my baby Legacy after what you told me.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, wow, that's the power of your words. You never know
Absolutely
what your words of encouragement are going to say to someone's future, And so it was just really powerful to hear a story like that. That's like, that really mattered to him so much so that he named his child Legacy.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
But
No, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say no.
Oh, we both wanted to ask her something at the same time. I was like, Erla,
Will you be able to hold that one?
Yeah, I'll hold it. I'll hold it inside.
No, I really love like your sense of community and philanthropy. And I just wanted to see like what you see as the importance of community and philanthropy in future leaders.
I think, being around women feeds my spirit. There's just something so powerful about gathering women together.
Yeah.
And I just want every woman to know, like, we're so powerful.
Yeah.
Singularly and as a community. And, what's the saying? If you want something done,
Give it a mom.
Give it to a mom.
Yeah,
so true.
true.
It's like, we get stuff done, and with grace and style. And, yes, we're sleep deprived. I definitely am. But I just love gathering women and doing something together to be a force for good.
Yeah.
So our whole premise is connection, collaboration, and community impact.
That's perfect.
Those are our pillars.
I think that it's so funny. Yeah. So when I started Miss Esquire, fun fact, I originally started this community thinking like, hey, there's a gap. Like there's a lot of women in the legal fields, but there's not enough like mentors. There's not a lot of people that have like broken barriers still to this day. Because you'll see a lot of huge law firms and none of the managing partners or shareholders are actually women, which is unfortunate. So when I first started this, which is about to be 10 years, I was only a first year out of law school. My first year practicing. And I was like, I really want to meet women that have broken barriers. How do we? So that's how the Facebook group was born. But because my dad was homeless growing up his whole life, I was like, we need to do community impact. So our whole premise of our group has always been collaboration and community, which is kind of funny because I was like, when you said that, I was like, wow, you're like a parallel of like our groups are like on the same wavelength, which I think is great. And what I love is like, I don't know about you, but anytime we have like a group, we recently had a kind of a wine and dinner night at my house, and both of us were exhausted. We didn't want to do it.
I did not want to go.
We were like, we both didn't want to go to our own event, which is kind of sad. So we were like both exhausted, and then all these women came, like 25, beautiful. And it was one of the most beautiful things because women were so candid. And then we did like a conversation, like people will pull like a question.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just something like, what's one thing you wish you would have let go? Like your younger self would have let go. And people,
we do the same thing.
You do?
Wine
so
and Dine
funny.
dinner party. You have to come.
Yes.
That's incredible.
So we will do like these questions and people will like, I mean, the
amount of sharing was just incredible and the vulnerability.
It's so special.
And it's funny because everybody got there with the same, because it was a Friday.
Yes.
Okay. So attorneys on a Friday, nobody wants to stay till really late. Everybody got there like, I have to leave early. I have to leave by 9. I have to leave by 9:30. It was 11:45, 12:30. No one had left. Like, that's like how, I was like, how did this start at 6?
Well, I think it's bedtime every week.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this started like 6:30 and we're now like 7 hours. My husband's like, is everything okay?
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Yeah. I am so energized after being around groups of women like that. So, and then I can't go to sleep because I'm just like, it's magical,
like,
and relatable also that, you have the dinner party or right before it, you're like, what did I do? What did I just get myself into? Because it takes a lot of preparation and there's also a sense of mystery right before you host an event like that, right? Like, everyone's, and everyone's kind of going like, I don't really know what to expect. And, dinner parties are not something that's so common. We always go to mixers or networking events, but dinner parties are like, they're special.
Yeah.
So we do something very similar, and it really is magical what is born from that table, and the friendships that are born from those nights, and business relationships as well.
And I always tell her, it takes so much time, effort, and energy, where sometimes we're like, is what we're doing worth it?
Yeah.
But then we'll have an event like that, and literally on my drive home, she's calling me with all these different ideas of what else we should be doing.
I know.
Because it is magical. It does energize you.
It does. It's like people absolutely think we're insane because we both practice full-time law, and they're like, why would you guys ever sign up for this? But November, every November we host a gala. We hope we can go. We host a gala and we get to celebrate over 200 women.
Ooh,
and when we sit in that room, we're like,
where
it was worth it.
It's at Gulfstream Park.
At Gulfstream. Yeah. And we get to our gala, we both cry because we're like,
of course,
this has been everything this whole year has led up to, like seeing people really succeed. I mean, it's amazing to really get to know these women, but then also to celebrate their wins,
It's like an extension of your purpose, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the fun part of your work. It's the fun part of my work.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, how do you do it all? And with the ladies. And I always say that's fun. The other stuff is work,
right?
Yeah.
The having to show up is different. The getting to is the wanting to is something that's really special.
Yeah. So with everything that you've done, what do you think you want your legacy to be that you leave behind?
I always say that I want people to have felt inspired by me. I want them to have been impacted by something I said or did, or shared with them, or a piece of encouragement that I gave them.
Okay.
So I think it's as simple as that. It's just, just somebody that's inspired by something I told them about them.
Yeah, that's great. I think one of the things, like even getting to know you and Sandy speaking about you and reading up on you and all the things we're really inspired by. I think you are a yes woman, and I love that you're constantly there for other women and pushing women forward. The other day when we spoke, you're like, I'm going to go celebrate my friends because she just got nominated for this. And it's like, it appears to me always that you're like there rooting for other women to succeed. So I wish you the best of luck. I think you have a lot of things. I'm excited. When does this Leading Ladies, you're going to do it quarterly, you said, right?
Yes. So we're building the next one right now.
Okay.
So,
and how do people get a copy if they want it?
It's online.
Okay.
And it's actually it's an app that's called Motivation and Success. I think it's also motivationandsuccess.com.
Okay.
My Instagram is Jessica Cristobal Official, and that's where you can find all of the information for Leading Ladies League. We're also at leadingladiesleague.com, so you can find out about upcoming events.
So how do people if they wanted to like join Leading Lady Leagues, or is it like
invitation only?
Yeah, like how does that work?
Both. There's a membership model, and right now we're building the waiting list for our upcoming events. I have my Glam Soiree, which I host annually. This will be the 7th annual. That's coming up May 15th, 2026.
Okay.
It's at my home. It's fabulous. It's about 200 incredible leading ladies that get together. We have entertainment, we have shopping, we have great food, sponsors, jewelry, all kinds of things.
That's awesome.
And then I host my Leading Ladies League Align and Dine dinner parties quarterly. So we've got another one coming up September 19th, and that's those magical dinner spaces.
Great.
We were talking about.
I love it. Do you still keep in touch? Like, I'm sure you had Leading Ladies in Oregon and stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And thank goodness for social media too, that we're able to just keep up with each other. And I post almost daily, so we can see what's going on in everybody's lives.
That's awesome. So you can follow her on Instagram at Jessica Cristobal Official, right?
Yes.
Awesome. We're excited.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy life.
Yes. Thank you for coming. We're excited to also see you at the games.
Yes.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.
My husband would kill me if I didn't say that. I'm like, you can't have, we met at UM at a football game. So,
the Florida State game, right?
At the Florida State game.
Oh, wow.
The only unfortunate thing is that my birthday always lands during the middle of a football game. So guess what I get to do every single year for my birthday,
Football game.
So I'll be at a football game. So,
right.
But it was so nice to have you today. We're super grateful that you were here with us.
Likewise.
And if you want more information about how to join Miss Esquire, email us at admin@missesquire.com. Like, subscribe for more episodes like this.
And we hope that you continue to grow your network and your net worth until we see you on the next episode.
Bye.